Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Owlet Tournament, Day 2 of Week 1. I am your caster, Hotohori, joined, as always, with my casting partner, Pulse. We've got a great match for you today here in the Majors Division. It is King's Throw versus Microsoft Excelsior. And Pulse, we've got the former champion of the Owlet Tournament, Season 1, going up against a new team here in the Owlet Tournament here in Season 3. What are we expecting from either of these two teams?
Well, it's still pretty early on in this iteration of Owlet Tournament. This was the Season 1 champion in team name and a couple players, but it's not the exact same lineup that we saw at that point in time. So returning players in Flamia, Thick Daddy, and Mithra, I believe. But other than that, it's some new faces. I recognize Surfy from previous seasons of Owlet, not necessarily with this team, but just from being around and doing casts with you all the time.
Yeah.
But King's Throw is pretty much an entirely new lineup that has been introduced. And they've been casted once or twice already, just from some show matches that have been going around beforehand. And they look to be a very aggressive team coming through. Not necessarily in sync with this meta, but definitely a threat if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, and a team that really doesn't play the meta, from what I understand. Is that correct? Like, they played a lot of Ryan Zarias, from what I heard.
Yeah, and they were being very aggressive with it. They were running Ryan Zari with some snipers, so a little bit of disconnect in team compositions there. But overall, it is something that you have to be prepared for, and teams that are a little bit more passive will definitely get run through by this team.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting to watch. Also, Microsoft Excelsior being coached by the Beehive co-coach Connor. We know him as a very, very good coach. What can we expect from him in strategy planning for Microsoft Excelsior? Because I know he's a very aggressive coach.
That's one way to put it, but we've been familiar with the coach of Microsoft Excel. He hasn't been with this team for too long. He actually coached a different team last season. So a little bit new to Microsoft Excel, but we're decent friends with him and have some thoughts about his quirks in coaching.
Yeah.
Well, and we like to give him shit for it, but he knows what he's doing. He's a top 500 player. Like, you probably won't get bad advice, and is pretty good at picking out cheeses too when he needs to.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to call him out there because I know he hates being mentioned on stream. So so therefore, we're just going to go through the match. We're going to go through the maps here for this Day 2 match between King's Throw and MSXL. It will be Ilios Hanamura, King's Row, Havana, and if there is a tie, we will go to Lijiang Tower here as the tiebreaker map. Anything unusual? We saw these maps here in preseason. I didn't see very many weird strategies on any of these maps. It looks like both teams, though, probably just going to play it straight up. Anything worry you in this map pool?
Not particularly. All of these maps are relatively vanilla for Overwatch. There's no weird things to consider. King's Row makes an appearance, which is one of those maps that you can run anything on. We always talk about this every time King's Row is in the map pool. But just, if you're gonna want to run a composition, even if it's not a meta composition, it'll probably work on King's Row. So we expect some Ryan Zarya coming from King's Throw on King's Row. And that's a map where you can do that. So that's a map that I would say MSXL has to worry about a little bit. Ilios in general is one of those maps that sees a lot of Orisa play even before double shield became meta, before pulled pork, just because of, well, you can get boops, you can get hooks into the endless pit of death. And the other maps on it are a little bit iffy, but again, Ilios is one of those ones that you see so much variance in, especially at higher levels of Overwatch League, whether it's Pharah, Fist, Ryan Zarya, Goats, Bunker. It's kind of been all played on Ilios before.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. So it looks like teams are just getting set here and getting ready to go. Once both teams are going to be ready, we'll take you into the match. But in the meantime here, we're getting set for this match between King's Throw and MSXL. We'll be right back, and it will be Ilios here when we get the start off of this match.
Could always use
Alrighty, folks, welcome to Ilios. It will be our first map here in this best of 4. And Pulse, we're going to be starting here on Lighthouse, as both teams are going to get set and ready to go. Thick Daddy and Flamia, who are experienced players here for MSXL, will be in red. Thick Daddy is a very well-known Roadhog main, but he's been a very, very good off-tank, playing all sorts of the other off-tank characters. I'm wondering if he's going to see some Sigma play here on Ilios, or maybe some of the other maps. We know Sigma has been very, very popular, combined with the Orisa lately, with that sort of double shield combo. So I'm wondering if MSXL has that up their sleeve going into Ilios here.
At this point, I would have to say a lot of teams are expecting to run this double shield. Like, it'd be more of a surprise if teams don't run double shield at all throughout an entire match for a day, rather than like seeing it come up. And that's just because it's the new in vogue for Overwatch. Like, Sigma's very strong, Orisa's very strong. Both of them are more or less DPSs, but are in the tank role still, just because of how much pressure they can put out. And because of that, it lets you run with a lot of shield pressure coming at the other team that they necessarily won't have unless they run double shield themselves.
Yep. So here we go, and it looks like here we're going to be watching King's Throw, and it looks like King's Throw here will not run the Orisa Sigma combo. It looks like they're going with a very weird sort of dive combination here. So we're running with Simple, who is on the Doomfist, which is a standard DPS player, but as we see him, he's trying to dive in there, and it looks like Windmill is actually hacked here as they are running a Doomfist Sombra. As they come in, Remedy, though, does get taken down here, and Alfredo from the front line here for King's Throw is actually been taken down also. So a 1-for-1 trade as they're going into the main area here. There's a Pharah on the side here of MSXL as they're trying to rein in, but it looks like King's Throw here will get initial control, as it looks like Thick Daddy and Windmill get booped off, and it will be initial control here going to King's Throw.
They're running this variant of Hack Fist Dive, which their goal has to be to shut down just one person dive on them, but they're running it with a Mora Lucio. Normally the Mora doesn't get that much value in dive because everyone's spread out. You can't really follow up without wasting your fade, but it's working out pretty well for them with Shadow Dragon already having a Coalescence to shut down this next push. Yeah, Shadow Dragon doing very, very well here, getting that ult up really quickly, as it looks like Myson here trying to just rain rockets in onto this team, but it looks like the Coalescence here going to be aimed into the air, as Remedy here will be able to take out Kirk 1 and Shadow Dragon, takes out Mithra in the air, so Myson losing the support here into the air as the fight will continue onto the point. Myson trying to fire as many rockets as possible, and it looks like MSXL here will get initial control. Ron finishing off Remedy as they're still fighting here on the outside of the point, but it looks like Ron and Simple here have taken over the point, and MSXL, who had it, will give it up right away as they only gain 8% onto the point, where King's Throw has come back and established themselves on the point. Really quick fight with MSXL getting that stronghold on the point very early, but they were just not able to withstand the frontal assault. King's Throw kind of just throwing bodies at them until they end up coming out ahead. And now they're reaching around 60-70%. With so many ults online, there's going to have to be a huge play, but a hack comes through, shutting down the entire team of MSXL, and it's going to be a quick fight.
Yeah, huge hack there, as she got a whole lot of prayers, and now it is just going to be Len just beating down on all of the members of MSXL as they got caught there. One ult to end them all, Pulse. One ult to end them all. So it looks like with that one ult, they were able to push back MSXL, but with 4 ults on each side here, it's going to be a pretty even fight going into the end here with already 90% in control here for King's Throw, as they now are just trying to hold off the remaining members of MSXL. They've got all the ults in the world, but they need to get to the point or it's not going to even matter, as it looks like they are able to establish themselves onto the point. So the fight here will be an ult fiesta onto the point, as it looks like Myzon trying to use a barrage on Alfredo will get him down, as everything now is being popped out. Here comes a Diva Bomb, something we don't see very often anymore, as Remedy goes down here, and it looks like the fight is just a giant brawl here onto the point, as it looks like Ron is able to take both Mithra and Myson down, and now it is just going to be a matter of who can finish off who. Windmill here being helped here by Flamia's Coalescence, but it looks like the members here of King's Throw have the fight in hand. It is Alfredo ulting onto the point, trying to make sure that he can get any of these tanks off. Windmill has established himself into the corner as he's trying his best to stay alive, as now it looks like Simple and Len here trying to just finish off the remaining members here of MSXL. The fight will continue. Mithra here on the... Oh, Mithra got punched right into a wall. That was pretty brutal, as now the fight will continue. The point still hasn't turned. Gotta be careful, but it looks like MSXL stepped off the point, and King's Throw will take the Lighthouse map here initially, 100-6. MSXL there did not look good on that map. They just couldn't establish themselves onto the point.
Funny enough, I don't think I've ever seen a team finish a King of the Hill map with 6% because of how low that is. Normally, if you take it, you can hold on to it for a bit longer. But just the situation of all of the fights, any fight, no matter how much of an advantage Microsoft Excel had in it, they just weren't able to win consistently enough to win the fight immediately happening after. So you get in these weird positions where they get the first 4 picks, don't clean up fast enough, and then King's Throw just kind of stagger on to point and eventually pick up enough kills to turn it back, even though it's really just one long extended fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very, very weird, but, you know, they immediately took it and immediately stepped off, and that's what ended up happening here. Oh, it looks like snipers are the chore of the day, so it looks like Len and Remedy here will be going to these to the Widowmakers as the fight will continue now onto the point here. Len here looking for a target. It's not going to be able to find anything right now. Remedy here getting hit. But Len here will be safe here into the back, as it looks like the kills, though, are going to be happening on the point, and they're all going to MSXL, as it looks like Remedy got taken out here, and now it looks like MSXL just going to clean out the point, and it looks like they will get first blood here on Ruins, and maybe some strategy switching coming up here. If I'm seeing, no, it looks like Simple here will stay on to the Genji, so it looks like they're going to stay with the same comp.
Yeah, we do see a switch of strategy coming through from MSXL with Thick Daddy back on his signature Roadhog, so that might be the only change they need, because right now I've only seen one missed hook, and it was just one that didn't matter at all.
Yeah, as you know, he's a very, very worrisome Roadhog if you are playing up against him, and there's the hook right there. As we see, he takes Kirk down, and no healing there onto the ground is going to be very, very problematic here. MSXL now exerting their dominance, as it looks like Len is just not going to be able to get the shots in, just too big there onto the point, and that's going to force them back. Thick Daddy here is just one of those players that, you know, you see him on the Roadhog and you just start to worry like that. We've seen him have hook percentages upwards of the 80%. He's just unbelievable on that Roadhog as they're trying to figure a way to push in.
Another thing that's just worth noting is Double Shield is so strong, but MSXL didn't really have a great grasp on it the first round, and now you're not playing something that counters this Roadhog pick, and you're just playing into it. My San is going ham on this Reaper in the backline, manages to get it 2k with the Blossom, and it's finishing up the Moira now.
Yeah, and it is just a complete reverse of what we saw there on Lighthouse, as it looks like Thick Daddy here is just going to be finishing off Shadow Dragon along with the help of Windmill. And now we're already at 80% here, and this double shield comp really, they really don't need it, because with Thick Daddy pushing in the way that he's doing, Alfredo coming in on the Reinhardt's just not going to be able to come in. He gets hooked immediately as he comes in. We're already at 90%, and Windmill takes Alfredo down. No main tank here for the members of King's Throw, and now it looks like they're going to have to push onto the point short-handed here by at least 3, so this is not looking good at all for King's Throw. Simple looking to see if they can get a support here into the back. We'll get Flamia down, but it's only him by his lonesome down. Flamia will get rezzed, and overtime ticks down, and that was a quick Ruins, as we're tied here at 1s.
And as much as the first map looked to go in King's Throw favor, this one was even more dominant on the side of MSXL. And at the start of this season, there's actually some really strong parallels to Season 2 of Owlet, because when Season 2 started, everyone was trying to learn Goats. So it was one of those compositions where people knew it was strong, didn't really understand how strong at the time. But every team is going to want to run Goats at that time, but now it's every team wants to run Double Shield because they expect it to counter so many of these things. But when you know the other team isn't going to actually try and counter or try and run the meta comp. It lets you run things that you want to run. So now we see like Thick Daddy on Roadhog just completely shut down half a team. My son is going to be on that Reaper, just shutting down Alfredo every time they tried to do something on Winston. And it gives them so much more freedom to just run stuff that they're more comfortable with.
And an early kill there by Myson onto Shadow Dragon, as now it's actually it's forced the res out, and now it's forced the members here of King's Throw to sort of hold up their push, and it's allowed MSXL to settle here onto the point. Good lucky rocket there from Myson, and now finally it looks like King's Throw has established themselves on the far side here. Alfredo's got to be super careful. He's got to watch out for that hook from Thick Daddy, as they're going to be playing around the well really, really tightly. So any big hook here from Thick Daddy will be huge. Oh, and it looks like it's going to be Ron who's actually going to get Thick Daddy first. Great use of that little mini grab and hook to put him out of position. And now with Simple getting Myson up in the air, it's just going to be a matter of time. And looks like Len gets sent into the hole, but it will be King's Throw who will get initial control here of the point, as Flamia dumps herself into the hole to reset with the rest of the team.
A little bit of a long fight, but King's Throw does come out on top, and they have not much of an advantage actually coming through. They have the Nano Boost, which is really only the big option they have. And with Shadow Dragon taking down Mysan before anything really happens in this fight, they have a res to blow on it, but now we see MSXL without a res and already down in this Farah duel.
Yeah. So it looks like Simple here just trying to see if they can keep him pushed back. But got to be careful about getting hooked in the air. We've seen Thick Daddy do wondrous things here on that Roadhog as he's been trying his best. Because now, looks like both Orisas are just going to battle to see who can knock each other off of their side of the point. Len here on the other side will try to take down the shields here of Windmill, as Len will finish off the opposing McCree on the other side as Remedy gets taken down. Oh, looks like Ron gets sent into the hole with a barrage coming in from Simple here. He will get Windmill down and will establish King's Throw here more percentage here on the point, as it looks like with them with 3 ults and MSXL having to reset, MSXL here slowly but surely are losing the well here. If they can't get control of this point, it will be quick Alias here for them.
And this is looking a lot like our first map too, where we just don't see a really good engagement from MSXL. Someone just sort of dies really early on. No ults have really been used this fight besides that one barrage early on. And it's been a very, I don't want to say it, but kind of a boring well so far for how exciting this map normally is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost as if there's a seam of a lack of action, because the action has been pretty much one way. Uh-oh, it looks like Ron just got booped right into the hole, so that could change a little bit, but Simple getting 2 will take Myson and Mithra out of the air, but Thick Daddy comes in with the kill onto Kirk. Simple going down 2. That means that they just need to move Alfredo off the point. Thick Daddy flanking all the way around, and that will establish MSXL here onto the point. But with 99% already gone, they're not going to be able to move. They need to win every fight now going forward.
And the defense did blow a lot of ults in that, but they do have 90% more to just make at least one good engagement. And with the way we've been seeing things from the side of King's Throw so far, they've been getting a lot of these really early on picks as soon as they were able to get up to the point. So it's entirely up to Mysan to do something and get a couple picks before they can really push onto point.
Yep, Simple here trying to wrap around for a barrage, but it looks like it's being guarded off here by Myson. So Myson trying his best to make sure that the Thefera doesn't come all the way around and barrage the tanks. As I say that, there he goes. Simple will take out both tanks here, and Thick Daddy and Windmill will go down, as the res will come in here onto Windmill. Flamia got to be Mithra's got to be very, very careful to make sure that he stays alive here. But it looks like Ron going to push in onto Windmill will get boosted here from the Mercy that is ulting here on the other side, as now it looks like Mithra is the only one on the point here to save it for MSXL, as she's trying her best. No, she gets hooked and killed now, as overtime will tick down. Thick Daddy comes back onto the point, but will get grenaded. And oh, Myson trying to barrage it, not going to be able to do so. King's Throw here will take Ilios 2-1.
Right as you were talking about that, the way Myson was acting as sort of a gatekeeper to prevent Simple from barraging, you saw Myson just be a little aggressive, try and go around the lighthouse to set up their own barrage, and by doing so, completely left the flank open for Simple to just come in and get that huge barrage that just turned the map around for them.
Yeah, and there's your play of the game there. right from the members of, I think that was MSXL. So we'll go to the
Yeah, that was my
scoreboard.
son.
Yeah, it was my son. So King's Throw here take a 1-0 lead over MSXL as they take Elios 2-1. it, I don't want to say that it was dull, but it seemed like both teams, once they established themselves onto the point, they were very, very, very much in control. So with MSXL on Ruins, once they got control of Ruins, like King's Throw just were having real issues engaging as well on the other side. When King's Throw started to establish themselves both on Well and in Lighthouse, MSXL just had a hell of a time trying to engage on them to try to get any bit of control. And what we saw in Well, like we saw in the Lighthouse, it seemed like MSXL were able to get it back for just a short period of time and then just get thrown right off.
And it was really a case of maps in general being sort of one-sided, but it was also very heavily one-sided into one team. And I don't know if it was personal preferences or maybe a new strategy they were trying to run, but especially on Lighthouse, I believe. Yeah, Lighthouse was the first map. So especially on Lighthouse, you saw MSXL come out with that double shield comp that we're sort of talking and we're expecting to see a lot of, especially as the season goes on. And they seem to struggle with taking space properly with it. And then when you turn around and MSXL can run what they want to on Ruins, you see the inverse where Kingslayer just has no clue how to approach it because they're just running bunker, and they eventually decide to try and run like Ryan Zarya into bunker, and that's not really how that composition works. It's one of those ones that just gets shredded down because of all the damage coming through from the Reaper, from the Roadhog, from the Orisa. So they were sort of countered. And then when we saw the mirror matchup, an early pick came up from MSXL, but then they don't really capitalize on it. They blow res. Kingstar is able to approach the point safely, and you get stuck in this scenario where Kingstar is fine where they are. They were just winning the mirror matchup, but MSXL didn't know what to do about it. They were leaving their flanks open. We saw on several occasions Len or just Simple come in from the side and snipe someone or just take someone down with an ultimate, and they weren't doing anything about it. They weren't really paying attention to each other. They really weren't watching their flanks properly and just sort of getting walked over by King's Throw, which is one of the things that we were talking about that you have to expect coming to King's Throw. They're a very aggressive team. They really don't play the meta, so you don't need to expect it. But if you let them play on their terms, they will run you over.
Yeah, so you had to be very, very careful right there, and it looks like MSXL weren't careful enough. So they lose. Elios here are now down 1-0 as we go into Hanamura. Teams are getting a little, some changes coming in. It looks like Panda is going to be coming in for Simple here for King's Throw, excuse me. Panda here, a very formidable DPS player from what I remember from the preseason.
Well, they played Zarya, which was basically a DPS. But a lot of people were calling out Panda during some of the casts, saying it's a really scary Zarya player if you don't address it. Very aggressive, matches Alfredo's Ryan playstyle very well.
Well, that's the thing, right? Yeah, being aggressive.
Like if you have an aggressive Ryan Zarya, it's basically having 4 DPS on the team at this point.
Yep, and you have to be very, very careful about that. So it looks like both teams still getting set here. When we come back, it will be Hanamura, so stay tuned.
The world could always use more heroes.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. 15 seconds here into Hanamura. It looks like they're going to be setting up with a, it looks like a Roadhog, Orisa defense here. It's going to be very interesting. Myson here onto the Symmetra. Looks like we're going to see some teleporting here coming in from MSXL.
And this is a strat that you really have to worry about. The teleporter bypasses this bunker, completely makes them turn around, and can disassemble a team if they're not ready for it.
And that's exactly what happened. The teleporter got sent right behind the team, and now it looks like it's Alfredo and company who are going to have to be playing on the back foot as they have to fight in that garden. Immortality Field comes down and will try to keep him up for a while, but it is all MSXL here. Len is able to take Flamia down, and that one kill might be able to stall him up a little bit here, but it is a very quick take. 30 seconds in, and they're already done. They are short one here, as they are going to be waiting for Flamia to come back, but they're just going to try to bum rush this as best as they can. Not because of the way that 2CP has changed, though. There are no more sort of steamrolls here, as teams have a reset mechanic that allows them to not get immediately taken over.
They are on point already. The Symmetra set up, and Alfredo's already getting lasered, forcing an early Immortality Field, which drops, and so does Shadow Dragon.
Oh yeah, but it looks like all the kills are here going to the side of MSXL, as they've already gotten 2 ticks already. All the members here, Len trying his best to make sure that he can get taken down, but no, that's going to be it. 543 on Hanamura. That might be one of the fastest Hanamura I've ever seen against King's Throw. They just literally rolled on them from point to point. Pretty amazing here from MSXL.
Yeah, and this is actually something that happened last week when we were casting too against Otter Oxide, where they didn't expect it, got punished in the exact same way, incredibly fast time going against them, and they just weren't able to recover across the map, because it's possible to come back from that, but a lot of teams really suffer from tilt after getting rolled like that. A lot of teams get mad that Symmetra's in the game after stuff like that happens. And it's one of those maps where you can't just sort of hold how you do in ladder or other game modes, because Symmetra exists as she is now and just allows for stuff like that to happen. You have to hold to a side of the point. You have to be more dedicated about preparing for a Symmetra attack rather than getting caught off guard by it, because you have to know teams are going to try for it.
Exactly, and it looks like here, very similar comp coming out here from MSXL. It looks like Myson, though, instead will go to the Hanzo instead of having a defensive Symmetra, so that makes more sense here. Ron has not picked a character, so I'm wondering if they're maybe internally thinking about trying to do the same thing. If I saw my team just get rolled, I might want to do the same thing, and that's what we saw initially here, but it looks like no, they're going to go to the Sombra instead. Maybe go for a slower push into the choke. Nope, there it is. Ron is actually going to settle in onto the Symmetra, so we're going to see some teleporting here from King's Throw also.
And you see MSXL setting up slightly differently, but it looks like they're still going to try and opt for a similar defense. So if they're not prepared for this or don't expect it, no, they see it and instantly move back. So this is what you should have expected coming from the side of King's Throw once they saw or heard that Symmetra coming through. You need to bunker up on point, prevent them from getting a free teleport in, and it really prevents the attacker team from forcing you to fight off guard.
Yeah, and it looks like here they've opted for a different strategy. Instead of teleporting onto the point, they'd actually teleport onto the high ground instead, and are going to wrap around and give themselves a little bit of a high ground advantage here coming in from the rear. Ron here could actually move the teleporter and teleport behind them again if they really wanted to, and that's exactly what they do. Teleporter actually goes onto the point and that forces them to turn around, and while they do that, that allows the members of King's Throw to move on in. Alfredo, though, gets taken down by Remedy, so they lose their main tank just a little bit too aggressive, though. The Len takes out Flamia, so a one-for-one trade here. They lose the support, but every kill here onto the defense is going to be beneficial. So therefore, they can just stall them out here because of the way that the spawns are going to happen. Thick Daddy, though, is able to take Ron out, but Remedy gets taken down again. But it looks like here a reset finally has to come in for King's Throw, as they lost too many players, but there's only 4 here on defense, so they do have a little bit of a window.
Yeah, and Remedy definitely taking some pointers from some Owl teams with this Reaper play, because you see a lot of what Owl level Reapers are doing now. They're taking very shallow flanks, just taking slight off angles, and then barreling through the enemy team at those off angles to really throw them for a loop and end up picking up 3, 4, 5 kills like that over the course of the first minute and a half.
Oh, Myson there gets a great initial kill here onto Len, and that'll slow down the defense, slow down the offense a little bit as they lose their Hanzo. So DPS going down. Dragon coming in from the far side as an immortality field will protect the defenders here. Alfredo, though, is able to take out the immortality field, but he's going to get taken out instead also. A tick actually does go through here to King's Throw, but it looks like they're going to have to reset again. 156 here on the clock. They just haven't gotten this offense right. As though they do get one tick, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board here, as it looks like they're going to scrap the Symmetra altogether, and they're just going to go through and see if they can just push through the choke.
Yeah, and MSXL respond to it by moving forward and denying this choke from the right, and now they don't have to worry about this teleporter shenanigans. They can just hold the choke like you normally would, and they're not even letting them through anymore. This is an entirely great adaptation from the side of MSXL, and Thick Daddy's already going in for the spawn camp now.
Yeah, he went in and immediately took Kirk down. Super high value target there onto the Lucio, as again he's trying to find another target here to just keep stalling them up. He's already killed about 50 seconds here off the clock with regards to King's Throw's offense. So now with only 1 minute left to go, King's Throw now finally going to have to come in, but a Graviton will catch the members here onto the center area, as a Dragon will come in and take down Thick Daddy, but Alfredo goes down again, but there might be too many players having to move around here. Remedy, though, is able to take Panda down, and Ron gets taken down by Windmill, but almost 2 ticks here onto the point, but it looks like the offense might have lost too many members. Shadow Dragon here is going to get taken down here by Windmill and Remedy, and now we're down to 38 seconds, only 1 tick left, as Alfredo's got to find a way to stay alive here on these pushes. With him dying first, it's not giving a shield here to the members of King's Throw.
Yeah, Alfredo almost falling again to Mysan just as they were trying to back out, but this is really their last shot. They use about half of their ult bank, but they still have that big shatter and nano boost.
Ooh, Alfredo with a big shatter as he's nano boosted. He's going to try to come on in, and now looks like they're just going to blow the kitchen sink at him to try to see if they can just take down all of the members here of MSXL. Panda, though, gets taken out as it looks like a Dragon coming here to sort of split the point. Thick Daddy is able to take Kirk down, and now still it looks like advantage here is still with MSXL. As the charge comes in, Thick Daddy himself is trying to see if he can take Alfredo down. He's ulting again. That's his second ult in a span of 45 seconds, as Thick Daddy here will wipe out the point. Overtime tries to come down. Panda coming in now here onto the hamster ball as he's trying to basically save the point as best as he can. Thick Daddy will take him down, and Overtime will tick down. Will anybody be able to save this? No. Big hook onto Kirk, as he's just seen too much of that this game, and MSXL ties this game up at 1s.
And it was definitely a lot more
Play of the game.
I don't want to say competitive because it was very one-sided, but this is a lot closer to what we've seen of Hanamura so far this season. And it's just, there are teams that definitely want to run that sim cheese, and it really just throws the other team for a loop more than anything else. Like, they do the sim teleporter, they completely roll a team, then the other team just kind of folds a little bit. And as much as you hate to see it, it's one of those things that you really just have to kind of shrug off and just be like, we'll get them next time. It happens. And then just keep a mental note of it for next time, so that when you go into VOD reviews, you can be like, we got rolled by this. What can we do to fix it? And the answer is to really do that adaptation that MXSL did, where you hold on point, hold off to a side of point. Don't let them set up on it. And just incorporate that into your strategies, because Hanamura is one of those maps that has looked very one-sided every single match that I've seen on an Owlet cast this stage, and it's just because teams keep forgetting about the Symmetra.
Yeah, it's got to be something that you've got to remember. But remember, this is week 1, as teams are still getting affiliated with a lot of the teams here in the tournament and trying to figure out strategies for some of these maps that work in this current meta. So it's going to be a lot of testing here from a lot of teams. You're going to see a lot of strategies, but you will see a lot of Symmetra here on Hanamura. So we're at halftime, folks. MSXL King's Throw tied up at 1s here in this very compelling matchup here in the Majors Division. We are the late game, so any games that are going to be on still on the Owlet tournament might be wrapping up, so check your local listings to see if any of those games are still live. But it is King's Throw and MSXL here tied at 1s. When we come back, it'll be King's Row for King's Throw, haha. So we'll see
row
both
for
of
row.
Row for throw. So we'll see both of those teams here kind of see it both matching up here on King's Row to see who will take the advantage and take a 2-1 lead here into the final map, which would be Havana. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You know, the world could always use more heroes. You know, the world could always use more heroes. always use more heroes.
Unmute myself here. It looks like I was muted, as it looks like MSXL will take this first push here very, very quickly, as I was wondering if I was actually going out on air, but now I'm sure that it is an MSXL victory here on point A, and they will take a quick point A here in less than 45 seconds.
Hoto, you did it again.
I know.
But a very fast take from Thick Daddy, just building up some quick energy and shredding all of the bunker from the side of King's Throw. It was something that we haven't really seen a lot of them on, and it was kind of weird seeing them opt to not take the Ryan Zarya on a map. They've really been wanting to run a lot of Ryan Zarya, so Panda falling early is going to slow them down this progression. They really need to back out before more picks come in from the side of MSXL.
Yeah, Thick Daddy here having a good old time here on that Zarya. Along with Windmill, they're trying to be as aggressive as possible here. Down goes Len too, as they're just staggering the members of King's Throw here really, really badly. Shadow Dragon here in the distance, got to be super careful. He doesn't want to get picked off either. And Shadow Dragon's going to try to fall back, trying to make sure that the Ana there is not going to be surrounded here by the two main tanks. As Thick Daddy trying to push his luck here a little bit, as Panda now trying to take that duel here with the Zaryas up front, as nothing going on in the back pretty much, as it looks like the rest of the members of MSXL have pushed up also. They're trying to look for an early kill, and it looks like an early grab here will catch Alfredo, and a big dragon and a grab dragon combo will catch the members here of Alfredo and Kirk. Both members here of King's Throw get caught in that grab combo, and now the payload has moved around the corner, as the members here are going to have to wait for the rest of their members to come back up, as King's Throw here will have to give up point B. And this has been a very quick King's Row here for MSXL.
Yeah, this has just been an absolute stagger fest from the side of King's Throw. They never really regroup, keep getting picked off just by one or two grabs, and they're completely down in all banks now. They don't really have much of an option to even contest this other than the Nano, which will have to be facing into a Nanoed Ryan themselves. So they have to be very careful. They have to make sure no one falls here, even though they're taking a lot of damage, and the Diva resets and almost falls in the pit there for a second. Yeah, and two big kills already coming in from MSXL as the Shatter came in, as now it looks like just Thick Daddy just pushing on in with that Zarya with no restraint here, as it looks like the payload is actually almost at the yellow circle. The rest of the members of King's Throw here they're going to try to see if they can lock up one of the sides with a dragon. Alfredo here will get the nano boost along with Thick Daddy here. They're trying to see whether or not they can just push on in and see if they can have about 4:30 in on the point. Remedy and Thick Daddy will get the early kills. It looks like a Lucio ult here will save the members here of King's Throw, but not for very long. Simple gets taken down, and that's going to do it. 4:40 on the clock. MSXL taking no prisoners here. I could be wrong, but I don't even think a single Elim was scored on the board for King's Throw there. So incredibly one-sided, and they were just down that whole time, but continued to just stagger themselves. They never had a good regroup. This is something that you can recover from as long as you address it. But it looks like some of the tilt from Hanamura might still be coming through because it's not the cleanest Overwatch we've seen them play.
No, it isn't at all. And the thing about it is you just have to right yourselves when you come off of something like that. You know, you got to take a breath, make sure that you and your team are going to be straight. You don't want to let that tilt go to your head and and it takes over your mechanics. Things just end up not going right all the time. I mean, a lot of things can take over. So the members of King's Throw here have to be super careful that they want to make sure that they just don't let that what just happened to them take over their gamesmanship, and therefore they want to make sure they take this a little bit steady. It looks like Len here is going to go to the Doomfist. Alfredo and Panda looking like they're going to go to the Rein Zarya themselves, as it looks like Thick Daddy and Windmill will match them up. So very, very interesting. I've seen so much, Zarya Sigma. Excuse me, not Zarya Sigma, Orisa Sigma here. To see some Rein Zarya here is very refreshing from both of these teams as they're going to come through. 10 seconds left to go, as it looks like this is going to be a big push here for King's Throw. They want to make sure that they get this very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world if it's not quick. The big goal is to finish with as much time as possible, barring that, finish with like over a minute. So they can take their little time. They don't want to rush themselves and end up in a scenario, though, where they get too tilted, get staggered again. And right now, it looks like they're kind of doing that because Alfredo's wasting his shield resource just standing there after they're already down their Mercy. And they're getting pushed on, but My Son goes a little bit too far, gets picked, and now's the opening that King's Throw needs to do something. Yeah,
that was a big mistake there by My Son. As now, but it looks like Len here will get taken down here as Remedy has done a great job here on the Widowmaker to even out these fights. But Panda here taking the better of Thick Daddy finally, as Thick Daddy now off the field, and that is huge for them. Their Zaryas have been big on both sides, and now it's just a matter of cleanup here. And now it looks like Alfredo and company will be able to take control here of Point A. It was about only a minute, so just a little bit slower than MSXL, but a pretty good push on to Point A nonetheless.
This is exactly what they want, and now they have Panda in a scenario where Panda's super high energy. Simple may fall and they may have blown the res, but Panda's high energy, Alfredo can do whatever they want with a Zarya this high energy behind them, especially with the purple onto Windmill, forcing them to back off a little bit. So now they have some space to get this cart rolling. As long as they keep getting damage in here, as long as the fist keeps punching through, landing damage, then they have this fight. And they take down Windmill super early, which means that everyone in MSXL is going to have to be backing up now.
Yeah, that was a great solo grab because they knew the tank was out of position there, and it was just a matter of taking him down. Alfredo with a big shatter, taking down 3 and being very, very aggressive. Remedy trying to sort of stop the bleeding, as we say, because it looks like he's going to get taken out by Len. And this has been a great push here by King's Throw. Just utter aggression by both sides, taking no mercy on either end. And it looks like Alfredo and Panda are going to move in here and try to see if they can stagger MSXL just a little bit more.
Yeah, Panda's searching for some more energy to convert into damage right now. And with Alfredo getting this nano boost, this cart's going to roll into B with very little resistance from the side of MSXL.
Oh, it looks like a Graviton here coming out from Thick Daddy as they're going to try to team it up with the Dragon here as 5 members get caught. And it is a terrible place to get stalled up because this is a long walk, so it will give them about 30 seconds of a bit of a respite here. But King's Throw gets a very, very good push here with 4 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, a couple members just wandering a little bit too close to that Grav get pulled in, causing the Grav Dragon Strike that definitely weren't expecting it from the signs of it. And that entire play really is going to be map defining for King's Throw right now because it didn't let them roll into point B with the same amount of time bank. And they're going to have to recover, take this over as fast as possible. They have some ults to work with, though. Len can go deep with Fist, get out safely with his ultimate. Simple has this barrage and those barrages were turning up pretty big on Ilios, but Len can't get picked there, and it's dangerously low.
Yeah, looks like Windmill here has the shatter. He's got to look for it. He's got to find a good one. Remedy will take Simple out of the air, though, so that's going to be problematic. So it looks like here they're going to have to back up, and it looks like another Graviton here. And a counter shatter here by Alfredo will take the members out while they were in the grab. So Thick Daddy's going to have to back up here. It looks like Remedy here is trying to sort of hide onto the point. Going to try to stall the payload as best as they can, but Alfredo here will be able to finish off everybody else. And now they will get point B. 4:30 on the clock, meaning they will be behind in time bank no matter what they do, but they're going to be looking for early stagger kills.
Yeah, we do see MSXL get grouped up a little bit better than what we saw from King's Throw. But Alfredo and Panda just way in the front line, getting as much space as possible so this cart doesn't get stopped.
Yeah, Payload here is actually already come around the corner, and Simple already barraging into the background area. Will get Remedy down, and that's going to be worth it. So they lose their Widow here on the defense. Nano Boost here on the Windmill will get slept and stalled, charged, and killed by a Nanoed Alfredo who was grenaded, but that's not stopping him at all. It looks like the res will come in here for Len, as now it looks like the members of King's Throw here trying to enforce their will on MSXL. Looks like they're going to have a clean roll through here. They just need to stop Windmill from getting onto the point. They do sleep him, and that's going to be that. 1 minute less here on the clock here for King's Throw, but amazing times here from both sides.
Yeah, this map has just been absolute aggression from both teams. And on the defense, a little bit of staggering. We saw a little bit more clean regroups from the side of MXXL, but definitely both teams could improve on that a little bit moving forward, and for even this next round of King's Throw. Particularly with the double, a lot of the double sniper we saw coming out. That's something that you have to be very cautious of when pairing with a Ryan Zarya, because it leaves the Ryan Zarya without a whole lot of damage back behind them. Like, if you run a Kree with a Ryan Zarya, you have the flash. The Kree is generally going to be in the same positioning, can put out a little bit more range on top of the Ryan Zarya, whereas snipers really want to be taking angles and don't have the same type of presence that, like, Soldier, Kree, Pharah, even Doomfist have when you're pairing them with this. So it allowed MSXL, or rather allowed King's Throw, to just run through the Ryan Zarya because no one was them all the time. And they tried to fix it towards the end, but it really wasn't addressed in time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments MSXL make here in this second push. So now, Remedy here has actually, instead of going to the Widow, has actually gone to the McCree. So he's trying to see whether or not he can get maybe a quick kill on anybody coming up through the window, or if anybody's going to be in the air. What he's going to see though is a Doomfist Reaper. So very interesting. He's got to make sure he's got to stay at range, because if he gets close, he's going to get taken out. So he's got to be super careful here. So it looks like the Doomfist here is going to be flanking all the way around. Len is going to be going all the way towards the high ground in the background area. So as it looks like Remedy is going to flank here and trying to see if he can take anybody out. But and it looks like he's able to take out Shadow Dragon as Alfredo takes out Myson. So therefore, 2 down here for the side of King's Throw, as they're going to have to regroup a little bit, as Len has actually been taken out by Thick Daddy. And now just the remaining members of MSXL here, just finishing off the remaining members of King's Throw. King's Throw here has got to reset back in the spawn here. They don't want to leak out members like they did on their defense, or it's going to be a long push here for the 2:50 left on the clock.
I really like the ideas coming out from King's Throw, getting that flank set up, but MSXL capitalized on it and literally just pushed through their entire team, while the Doomfist and Reaper were trying to get in a spot to engage. So they need to be a little bit faster with that, and also make sure they don't leave themselves vulnerable while the Doomfist and Reaper are setting up. But now there's total choke control, and using speed boost, using a couple cooldowns to get through this choke, and finally finding their way onto point.
Yeah, Len and Panda get 2 big kills here, and that's going to open it up here for King's Throw. So Simple finishes off Mithra, and that's going to do it. They're now just going to be able to see if they can finish everybody up. Len now getting very aggressive, trying to see who he can take down, as with the help of Panda, who is glowing like a Christmas tree, trying to see if he can finish off Windmill here with the short spawn. But it looks like Panda's going to want to back up just a little bit here, as it looks like a swinging Reinhardt is going to be the only thing that's going to be available on the other side of the bookstore. So 157 here left on the clock. Remember, we're in time bank, and there's 157 here left on the clock, and they're already almost through to the street phase. So Thick Daddy and Panda here dueling Zaryas. Interesting to see this in this meta coming through. Alfredo now meets up with Windmill right around the corner of the bookstore. Caught in the Graviton, as a Dragon will come through, try to see if they can save the remaining members of their team, as it looks like that Dragon did indeed help, as it looks like King's Throw got caught as they were trying to be aggressive onto that Graviton that was thrown in there by Panda, as it looks like MSXL was able to finish off 4 members there of King's Throw. Bit of a big turnaround there, as now as they come back out from spawn, as it looks like they've gotten back onto the payload and are going to engage in this fight again. It's been fast and furious here, Pulse. Panda here gets caught in the shatter, but now Alfredo is going to be nano boosted, and they're going to try to just move on in here, just using pure aggression, just swinging it away, trying to see if they can use all the ults that they can. They're going to get caught in a grab, but there was a Lucio ult here that will not incur any damage onto their team. So now again, Thick Daddy here is just backing up. They're just pressing the S key, as they can't stop from backing up, as it looks like they're going to be able to come on through here to point B. Remedy is taking out Shadow Dragon, but that's going to be that. This has all been King's Throw here through the street space with 30 seconds left to go.
But there was one kill coming through from the side of MSXL. They got Shadow Dragon on the Ana, which is a very long walk for an Ana, so they're going to be relegated to only Lucio heals for this final point fight. And if MSXL realize this, they might be able to push in, get a pick before the Ana can really come in and save Alfredo, and they might be able to do something with this.
Yeah, if they can use this advantage there, and they do get Len, but they do trade out, but 2 kills here, 3 kills now for MSXL, as the Graviton will catch Mithra, but Thick Daddy comes on in. It looks like the advantage here is going to be with MSXL, and it is a long spawn, remember. This is a really, really far place to walk, but now overtime's ticked down. There's nobody going to be close to that payload, and that's going to be that. That advantage that you called out actually came into play, as Shadow Dragon just unable to help, as MSXL just bum rushed them and takes them out right before point B.
Yeah, and even though the scoreline says 4-3, to win this, you basically need to get point B, because the cart's, 7 meters short of it?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's a 4-3, but it's a very long 4-3. And this is entirely doable now for King's Throw. They have a shot here. They were only about a minute less on the time bank. And King's Row, as long as you're prepared for it and kind of are adapting to the way your players, and the way the other players are sort of playing in a given night, you can easily take 2-3, even a full hold on point A. It's hard, but it's possible.
It very much is, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Remedy here going back to the Widow, and Myson going to the Genji here. So it looks like they're going to try to see if they can just be aggressive again. Windmill here changing up. They're going to be fiddling around with their tank lines, I think. I don't know if they're actually going to go with this hamster, so it's going to be very interesting. Alfredo and Panda on the Rhine Zarya, so we know what they're going to see from them. Simple here onto the Junkrat is a very interesting pick. There is a certain someone that we know that loves playing Junkrat on this map, knows the angles, and can stall up a team if they know they're going to stay on the ground here. So it's a very interesting strategy. As Simple here, they're just going to try to lob in as many bombs as possible to see if they can sort of bust down shields, but that might just give some extra charge to Thick Daddy here.
Well, you know, when you're running a Reaper Junkrat, MSXL see that, and they already swapped to Pharah Widow. This DPS line is not going to be able to do much against the Pharmacy, who already has found 2 picks on both supports of King's Throw.
Make that 3 and make that 4. 4 kills already. They just countered what they just came out with, so it's Simple, just going to be him. Left here onto the point, gets fire striked here and killed by Mason, and that is a quick point A take. It looks like the remaining members of MSXL here are just going to push as fast as they can going forward to see if they can get some stagger kills here, because they know they've pretty much got the point locked up. So if they know if they can get a kill on Alfredo here, who's already engaged with Windmill, they're going to have a good shot here of finishing off this point. And now it looks like the re-engage is coming in, and it looks like Shadow Dragon actually gets taken down by Myson, and Alfredo goes down here as one person is actually onto the point trying to stall out as best as they can. So Windmill now pushing in as Len and Kirk actually got taken down here by Remedy, and it is big trouble here for King's Throw. They need to gather their senses and gather back up, or they're going to end up losing this map here.
And that aggression has really been their downfall in this map, because even in fights that they're losing, they're being so aggressive, especially in the case of Panda, where Panda's a killer Zarya. It's definitely a major threat. When they're dying last in a fight and lose all of their energy because of it, it's really setting up King's Throw for failure on a lot of these points, and that's something that they really need to address and just be a little bit more careful of.
Yeah. They've got to be super, super careful here. Thick Daddy's actually playing super high up here onto the Zarya, probably trying to make sure that he keeps his energy up here against the members here of King's Throw, as it looks like they're just going to play for this 1-point defense. Windmill actually gets a great fire strike here onto Alfredo, as Rockets now coming in. Simple has not switched to a range DPS, so therefore Rockets from Myson here are going to do serious damage. So Myson's here just free flying, free rocketing all the way into the back. And Panda here getting taken down by Myson himself too. Len here actually going to the McCree, but just doesn't have an angle here in order to take him down, as Remedy will be able to get him down on a snipe here. As Alfredo now coming in, will try to see if he can get onto the payload and force members of MSXL back. Windmill here getting nano boosted, trying to see if he can finish off what was the remainder of the body of Alfredo, but that's going to do it. They just got staggered up there, and they didn't make the changes fast enough, and MSXL here takes a 2-1 lead here on the King's Throw with some aggressive play here through the streets.
Play of the
Mhm,
game.
and that was very much the same. MSXL were able to run the first round, and we never saw King's Throw adapt to punish this. And if you want a good example of staggering, all you really need to do is really consider King's Throw play there, because there's so many scenarios where they would lose a fight, and then when resetting for the fight, they would reset too close. They weren't respecting MSL properly. So because they're resetting too close to the next fight, MXL would see, hey, they only have like 3 people here. Let's just throw 4 people at them while we're pushing the cart. And they'd take the 4v3, win it easily because they have the man advantage. And then the cart would get some distance. You see another example where, hey, look, there's the other 3 members of them. Let's throw the same 4 people at them because they can't handle this. And they were just resetting too close to the fight every time. They weren't using their speed to make sure that they were taking position properly. And they were just getting caught out. And with their pants down, they must have, like, it's one of those scenarios where if you're not paying attention in between fights and thinking about what you need to prepare for, you look like that.
Yeah.
And it's a really disappointing look for King's Throw, because when they're aggressive and they're able to do that to the other team, they look really good. But MXL just kind of took what they were doing and threw it against them, and they were really not prepared for it.
Yeah, you gotta. It's one of those things in which you just have to be careful with your aggression. If it's not working, then you do need to back up and maybe sort of gather your thoughts and figure out what is going on here. But King's Throw just went 100% balls to the wall here against MXSL, no matter what was going on. And when it worked great. But when it didn't, it really blew up in their face. So Havana is going to be the next map here, as it looks like King's Throw has lost a player, possibly either a substitution or a reboot here. Havana is going to be the next map. Looks like Kirk is finally going to be back in. Looks like we're going to go quick transitioning in. Looks like Moores is now coming in here for King's Throw, as Len will go to the bench. MSXL looking like they might have some subs here too. Loner Surfy in Zwaba. How do I say that? Zwaba? Zaba?
I believe it's Zaba.
Zaba. So, but it looks like it will be Loner here who will actually get subbed in for Remedy. So Remedy, who was playing DPS, will actually get subbed out, and Loner now coming in here for MSXL. Looks like they're going to go into Havana here for Owlet Week 1, Day 2. This will be the 4th map. King's Throw here need to win this map in order to take it to a map 5 onto Lijiang Tower, where who knows what could happen. But MSXL here given a good fight here by King's Row, so they have to keep on their toes here. Both teams almost going to be ready. When we come back, it will be Havana. Havana will be our next map. Can MSXL close out this match, or will King's Throw even it up? So stay tuned.
You know, the world could always use more heroes. always use more heroes.
Seconds.
Alrighty, folks. Welcome to Havana. So we don't have any B-roll, at least yet, on this map. I haven't updated my BGG tool, so therefore there's no cool little video that's you're supposed to see here before the maps. But you get to see the colorful streets of Havana here. 7 seconds left to go, Pulse. It looks like King's Throw here will be on defense first, and it will be MSXL here on offense. King's Throw opting to defend here up on the higher part of the street and not going for a going for a spawn camp. So trying to be a little bit more passive and maybe take one fight here. But it looks like Myson will take Simple out right away, so they have to be very careful about that.
Especially with Torbjorn with a huge head hitbox. This is one of the people that you really have to be conscious of when you're playing Torb, is just snipers in general. Loner getting a couple picks is really going to open up this fight for them. Now a huge purple coming through, and there's no shield from the side of King's Throw, meaning that MSXL can do whatever they want.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a hook coming in from Thick Daddy here, right onto Panda, and Panda just suffering what the supports have been suffering all day long here when Thick Daddy's been on that Roadhog. And oh, another big one here onto Moors, as Moors is trying to run away, not going to be able to make it out, as it looks like here, as the payload is going to be wrapping around, they're going to try to see if they can just hold off the edges and make sure maybe another fight coming in here. Alfredo will be able to get come in, but immediately Simple has just not been able to participate, as he's just been killed really early on here, as MSXL is just pushing through as best as they can, just using this just crazy aggression as they take point A through Havana very, very quickly.
Yeah, and that was an incredibly quick Havana. It was very similar to what we saw in King's Row, and it's a very similar look from King's Throw as well, where they're being a little bit too slow to these backups. They're not quite engaging all at once, and MSXL isn't letting them play their game.
No, not at all. As Myson here going to be looking for picks, and immediately gets one on the Shadow Dragon here. These early picks from the Widow have just paid real dividends here. And now Wall's coming up here as he's trying to see if he can maybe take down Alfredo before he can get away. Alfredo is going to get finished off there by Flamia, but just losing their main tank is going to be so problematic. A May here on the field, but Simple gets taken out here by Myson, as he's just going crazy here on this Widow, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. Let's see what Loner can do here. He could send that dragon in if he really wanted to, but doesn't necessarily have to do so, as it looks like Myson here now just trying to push his luck. Oh, and another big pick. Simple's got to be super careful with the Widow out on the field. You can't just walk out free, as it looks like here Alfredo here's got nobody to fight with him, as it looks like they've had to pop wings here in order to stay alive. Myson here has just wrapped all the way around to the other side of the team, as finally gets taken out here by Moors, but that payload has just not stopped. MSXL here, just no mercy through the distillery. They're going to be able to destroy, I guess it looks like there is the May on the other side of the wall, as Simple is going to get blown up. Just a little bit of a delay, but they're going to take point B with no hassle whatsoever.
And now Simple was contesting the card, but it's going to get a long spawn, and Thick Daddy and Windmill are just running through, going for all these halt hooks, and they're getting them. They get it on Alfredo, who manages to live, but with Moors falling down to Loner on that dive, this fight's still going to be a 5v4 for the side of MXL.
Yeah, it really is, and Myson's going to have a field day here, because he's got free reign and shooting. There's not really a shield to protect them, so no Rhine or an Orisa to maybe pick up static shield. It looks like the Widow duel has picked up, as it looks like Simple actually has picked up the Widow mantle, and now they're dueling it out here. Let's see if either one of them can take each other down. So it looks like, oh, and it is Simple who goes down to Myson. So the advantage here definitely with MSXL. So now it looks like it's just going to be Kirk here on the field, just a lonely mercy, as Alfredo is going to get thrown into the hole, but Thick Daddy fell in with him.
Kind of takes a little bit step too far to that wall there on the ocean side, but with that, there's still taking like these 5v4s, and if anyone from King's Throw like pokes a little too soon, they can even this up really quickly. Thick Daddy does have to walk back from spawn, but is getting the Lucio taxi right now.
So it looks like Simple trying to take the Widow duel, but Panda gets a big 2K here with a bomb, losing Flamia and Loner is going to be big here, as they're going to have to reset a little bit. So now Myson has had to back up. Simple gets a little bit of revenge there. So now MSXL has to back up, but they have a ton of time here. But this is notoriously the hardest part of Havana, getting through the castle. As Thick Daddy getting another huge hook here onto Moors, as it looks like the remaining members of MXXL are going to be coming in. Myson doesn't have to fully engage here with the rest of the team. He can stay back as a Dragon comes in right into Alfredo's face. And now Thick Daddy is going to move the remaining members here of King's Throw as Loner gets slept onto the point. He's going to get run over by the cart, but he'll be okay. He's just asleep. So it looks like here the remaining members of King's Throw are all into the spawn, as now as the bongo drops down here, that'll give them the DPS boost that they'll want. Alfredo here all by his lonesome is going to get picked on, and now it looks like it's just going to be a matter of time of cleaning the remaining members here of King's Throw, as Panda here onto the Wrecking Ball trying to see if he can do anything, but unfortunately not going to be able to do so. Simple here onto the Doomfist, not going to be able to stop them, and 242 on Havana is a very quick time.
Yeah, 242, that's going to be hard to come up with something equivalent to. Honestly, Havana's one of those maps where, as much as we've seen it, especially in Overwatch League and Tier 3 play as of late, teams just know how to play it or still just struggle on it, and there's very little in between. You see a lot of spawn camps for like 3 minutes. You see a lot of teams that just get on the cart and never move. And I don't know if King's Throw is up to it at this point in the night. They've have moments that look really promising, but after Havana and after losing on King's Row, which is their namesake, they just seem a little out of it at this point.
Yeah, they just seem that there's just something slightly off, and I don't know if the tilt has gotten the better of them. They looked excellent on King's Row. It was a matter of maybe they just need to slow down a little bit and just settle in, but they have to be very, very careful and aware of what's on the field. Myson was just having a field day with the Widow, and people just got to make sure coming out of the sightlines, you can't let down your guard at all, or you're going to get your head blown off. And that happened a couple of times here to Simple as he was coming out onto the field. Alfredo also with the monkey was out there just getting picked on by the Widow also. So they have to be very, very aware as to what is going to be out there. So it looks like here, Windmill here has gone to the Orisa, so they're going to go more for a bit of a static defense, and they're going to hang on the top of the street also. 6 seconds left to go, as it looks like Alfredo and Panda here on the Rhine Zarya will try to be a little bit more mobile, and Simple here will go to the Widow, thinking possibly that Myson might be on the Widow too, but it looks like they're going to be going in with a Torbjorn defense. So double sniper here coming in for King's Throw, as they are playing the old, pretty much the old meta here, as they're going to be coming through. So it looks like they're just going to wrap around and leave the cart. Morris here is able to take out Myson's turret. So they're just trying to see if they can make sure that they're just not going to be in the line of fire, and they're going to see if they can finish off the members here of MXXL and engage them in a fight this way. Before they move any parts of the cart. Very interesting strategy here by them. But it looks like it's paying dividends as Alfredo and Shadow Dragon are able to get to, and Simple finishing off Thick Daddy as the payload slowly moves here with Simple onto the payload, and they're going to win this fight, and they're going to get a good chunk here of point A.
You know, it's not a strategy you see a whole lot, but really kind of goes back and reminds you of that one strategy that Gladiators ran during Pete Goats, where they just leave a Widow in the backline, and when the rest of the team engages you with a bunch of tanks, the Widow just kind of gets a couple free shots off of it and cleans up MSXL very cleanly. Now they're coming back with a recontest, but after blowing a lot of cooldowns from the side of MXXL and getting zoned out by Alfredo and Panda, this is looking all the way for King's Throw right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Thick Daddy had to abandon ship, and they're going to give up point A. So that is a very, very fast point A here for King's Throw. So it's all to do here, as they're moving as fast as MXXL here was going through here. And now here's the test. Getting through the distillery is going to be very, very difficult. Alfredo and Panda are going to be looking for kills. MSXL were able to make it through this area so fast is because they were able to stagger them really, really badly here. So Alfredo here trying to see if he can focus on Thick Daddy and any of the remaining members, but it looks like they just blew up in their face as Windmill finishes off both Panda and Alfredo. And now now they're just trying to see if they're going to get as much push as they can before they're going to have to abandon the payload and wait for their tanks.
Yeah, unfortunately, Panda and Alfredo just going really deep without any support from the rest of their teammates. I don't know if that's something in their plan or if they normally expect to get away with it, but MSXL is not letting it happen tonight at all. And that's a lot of what we saw in Kings Row that really slowed down their time bank. A lot of what we've seen on this that has been openings for MSXL, but also just coming out like crazy now. And it looks like most of the kills are coming out for King's Throw.
Yeah, King's Throw here trying to make sure that they win this point and they win it quickly. It looks like Thick Daddy's the only person left here on the cart, and he's going to get taken down fairly quickly. Will they be able to re-engage here? It's going to be 50-50. I think they're going to have a chance if they want to go for it, but it looks like Panda here is playing guard onto the wall, but it looks like MSXL are going to back off, and they're just going to play defense here to make sure that they can stop them going up the ramp. So they're going to get another minute 30, 5:11 here on the clock. King's Throw throwing down the gauntlet here, trying to see if they could get a just as fast Havana, if not quicker. Alfredo here playing the very, very high line with Panda, and they're doing the rotation game relatively well, but Panda gets taken down here, just too much DPS from Myson with the bongo down, and now it looks like members of King's Throw are going to have to go back to spawn, as the spawn is going to be right there, and got to be careful about being spawn camped here with the bongo down. Nobody wants to get picked off here in spawn and then have them wait another 10 seconds.
Yeah, and Thick Daddy was going fishing there and inside of their spawn, but now we see a really interesting problem from King's Throw is they actually have to backtrack to push this cart out of it, so they get a little bit of free distance, but right now they're getting completely shelled by this bunker, and they need to be careful to save that shield resource.
Yeah, Panda going on a little bit of a flank here, looking to see whether or not he can get a good angle on the rest of the tanks here, but not going to. Instead, he's actually just going to go for the front of the cart. Transcendence here. Now they're probably just going to trance rush in and see if they can actually move in on the members here. The Nano Boost comes out here onto Windmill. Still not enough as they focus him down. Loner using the High Noon will take Panda down. So 1-for-1 trade here as Thick Daddy will get the benefit of Alfredo's Fire Strike. They move the payload a little bit, but it looks like the fight here is going to end up being won here by MSXL. With 3:49 here left on the clock, plenty of time here for King's Throw, as they will have another shot at it here in just a sec.
Yeah, and King's Throw does have the advantage of, if they take this fight early, they might be able to get a 6v in before we see everyone from MXL get to regroup. So they get a little bit of free distance, they get to approach without wasting a lot of Alfredo's shield, which has been a problem for them tonight. And now they're getting to this corner, but they have to fight through a Dragon Strike.
Yeah, and that Dragon was just basically used to split the team. Nano Boost here goes onto Alfredo as he's just swinging away. He's trying to see if he can take Windmill out, but instead his aggression actually leads him into a trap as he gets taken down himself, as now kills going back and forth between the teams. Graviton here will catch Myson onto the point. He'll get finished off as Windmill will get finished off here by Simple in the distance, as it looks like King's Throw here are going to try to rush him as Simple comes in here with the 76. He sees Flamia all by herself, excuse me, but is able to finish off Mithra. Interesting, as now Soldier 76 coming in trying to finish off Thick Daddy. They're just using this aggression here non-stop. They didn't take any of my advice. Another trance coming out here, and they're just going to trance rush this again. Morris comes in, finishes off Windmill, but now kills going on to both sides, but the payload is still moving. They're just saying, screw this, we're just going to finish everybody off. Simple here's got to make sure he finishes off Mithra here, who's been hanging out on the point with a little bit of the stall, but with the payload right almost there, they just need to finish it off quickly. The charge comes in, will finish, Windmill here will shatter, but not affecting Simple at all. Dragon comes in from Son, will finish Simple and Panda off. They almost had the finish if they would have just stayed on the point, but instead they come up just a bit short. Alfredo gets a Fire Strike on the Windmill here, and a reset has to come in from both teams.
And these are some of the weirdest fights I've ever seen. Normally Overwatch is played as a team game and not a battle royale, but only 1 or 2 people are living through every single one of these engages from either side. And with Myson getting a early pick on Morris, this is not the fight that we want to see King's Throw take, because they're already down. There's spawn advantage on the defenders. Alfredo is getting battered.
Yeah, he's got Nano boosted though, so he's going to be able to finish off Windmill on the other side. He's going to charge in here, try to see if he can finish off Thick Daddy. He's going to get slept there into the back. Trance just comes out just a second too late, so not going to be able to do anything about that. Panda was grenaded, so the Trance is not going to be able to save him, as Simple now comes in. Morse here has just got Thick Daddy to worry about, but he's going to get taken down as Thick Daddy finishes both him and Shadow Dragon off, and we're down to less than a minute 10.
And Simple's just kind of being a hobo and hiding out under the bridge, but if he gets found out by Thick Daddy or Alfredo, this is going to be a massive stagger for them.
Yeah, he's got to be very, very careful about it. He's trying to make sure that he can get back to his team. So now it looks like Alfredo comes back. He is behind Alfredo now. So he's trying to use that shield to see if he can actually get in. High Noon comes in, so everybody's got to be careful. But no, Kirk and Simple popped his head out just for a split second, and that was enough. So they need a quick reset here with 39 seconds left to go. As Thick Daddy finishes off Shadow Dragon here, Panda he's in no man's land. There's nothing that he can do. He's going to get taken out here, and he's going to get staggered while the rest of his team here are resetting.
And that's a huge stagger with 20 seconds left, losing the energy on the Zarya. She has Grav, Panda has Grav already, but with no energy, this is going to be hard to find value from the Grav with just a Reinhardt swinging alone, especially one that has been punished as much as Alfredo has tonight.
Yeah, it's just very, very careful. And they do have a dragon here, so the dragon will come in, but a Grav here right behind the payload. Alfredo will get caught here in the dragon, so he's going to get taken down. And a counter Grav, but they're not going to make it back to the point. MSXL will win it after a huge time bank. What a hold there at the very end. MSXL had to hold off about 5 minutes, 10 seconds in the castle. My goodness.
And what a hold that was, too. Unfortunate that it had to end that way, because there was a moment where we saw King's Throw get maybe, half a meter from the point?
Yeah.
And there was about 3 or 4 things that could have happened that if any of them had happened, they would have finished the map. Like, we saw Simple pop a visor and not notice Mithra for like 2 seconds. If they had noticed Mithra, they would have been able to start rolling the cart fast and they would have gotten in. There's like, if they cleaned up the fight, or like one person didn't fall at the beginning, then they would have had a 6v6 and would have been a cleaner fight win. But just little things like that kept them from taking this to a map 5, and it really hurts to see. But at the same time, this is a scary showing from both teams just because of how aggro they both are, honestly. And if both of them can fix a couple things, King's Throw has a few more minor problems to work on, but they are, like we said, a new team coming into this. They haven't seen really any of these players before. They can learn to realize how this league is run and get a little bit more scrim time in. It could very easily become a formidable team.
Yeah, they can be a very, very scary team. We just saw them bum rush MSXL through 3/4 of Havana before they got stalled. We saw them basically go through King's Row like it was nothing. And it was one of those things in which they did have a very advantageous game there on Ilios. So this team, if they just fixed a little bit here, could have turned this fight into a 3-1 win on their side. So very, very interesting. Lots of potential here on the side of King's Throw, but our Season 1 champions, MSXL, showing their value here in this game, using their naked aggression and taking the win here. I think that's 2-0 for them through the first week, so good showing here from MSXL. Final thoughts here between the two teams here, Pulse, as we wrap up this Week 1, Day 2 matchup here between King's Throw and MSXL.
As expected, I think MXL is going to be a team that is scary to a lot of teams. Like, coming back from Season 1, they have a lot of strong players returning, and you really can't discount any of them. So they are one of those teams that I think a lot of people that have been around Owlet are aiming to beat, or at least have really good showings, and they're kind of a benchmark for a lot of teams. King's Throw, as they are right now, I think is very much going to look very similar to how Chengdu does in Overwatch League, in that if you let them play their game and play how they want, they have a very strong chance to just roll teams. But if they're not playing on their foot, if they're playing on their back foot and the other team's doing that to them, they're going to be rolled themselves. And you saw a little bit of that, especially on like Kings Row, Havana, just really weak defenses. And when they actually had plans going for it, they were just destroying teams. Yeah. So Kings Throw, as they are now, I would say is going to be sort of a benchmark, but in a different way, where they're going to be the middle of the league. And it just depends on how well they can take these fights against other teams and how well teams adapt to them, really.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting to see. So lots of growing available on the side of King's Throw. And MSXL, it's not the same members that we saw in Season 1, but there's going to be some similarities that you're going to see in their play. The great play by Thick Daddy, and you got to give it give it up to both Mithra and Flamia. Both of them doing really, really well there in the back line as the backstop there for MSXL. But that's going to do it for us here. So thank you so much for joining us today here for this Day 2 matchup here between King's Throw and MSXL. MSXL here take the victory 3-1 here over King's Throw. This has been a presentation of the Owlet tournament. If you enjoy what you're seeing, please join the Owlet Discord. Sign up for the league if you are also interested. We're always looking for subs. Remember, rosters can change at the end of stages, so be aware that you can actually join teams if people have a tendency to drop out. So the teams can rotate here between stages 1 and 2 and stages 2 and 3. So stay tuned here for more Owlet tournament coming this week. It'll be Wednesday. There will be more on the Owlet tournament on Wednesday. So check your local listings for that. But for Pulse, I'm Hoto. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time.